So we just watched a Hulu original film called Fresh. And, you know, I go through this a lot with these reviews, like the synopsis, because this is one of those films where you want to go in blind.
Yes.
I can tell you this right now. This would be a funny one to prank your girlfriend with. Throw it on and be like, honey, I found a really great rom-com.
Oh my gosh.
And for a while, she's gonna buy it.
Yeah, for like 30 minutes. She'll be like, oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, you can kind of guess from there-ish what the plot is. Because, yeah, it's really kind of like a rom-com that turns dark.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all I'm going to say about it. It has Sebastian Stan, the Winter Soldier himself. And the girl I'm not familiar with, but I feel like I've seen her before.
She looks familiar.
I don't know what, and I'm sure if I Google her, I'll be like, oh, that girl? Okay. Why didn't I remember that? But what'd you think?
I loved it.
Wow.
Yes.
Love.
I loved it.
Yeah, it's definitely getting a lot of pretty positive buzz at the moment. I think it has like a 7 on IMDb, which is really, really fucking high.
Yeah.
For a movie like this, so that's cool. Yeah. I did quite enjoy it. I think that I definitely would have liked things to be a little different. But I'm not upset with anything I got. Right? Like, and this is not typically a negative to me, because if you want more from something, I don't see it as a bad thing unless it's a more that you thought would make it good. This is something that's good that I feel like I just wanted something more out of. I guess I feel like, I don't know. As I'm talking about it, I'm sitting and thinking like, well, I guess it could have been more fucked up, and it could have had more of a cathartic kind of feeling to the last act and all that. But it's all there. Like, it's fucked up enough. There's enough catharsis that I shouldn't be so critical. I did have a good time. This is definitely one of those movies, though, where you don't want things to go bad.
You don't.
And that was one of the hardest parts of the thing, because I would have been I would have been happy, should I say, with this never going into dark territories and staying a rom-com, because you don't want this to go south.
No, you don't.
With how well Sebastian Stan and this girl vibe. Like, they have a very good chemistry with one another.
Good. Yeah, their chemistry is amazing from the beginning. And the acting is, I mean, it's like super believable and quirky and cute and...
believable. That's a good point. They're like, I think the first 30 minutes of this movie will be very relatable and even triggering to women.
Yes, right? It's super, super relatable and very triggering. Those are both good, descriptions of what you can expect. I think most women have had at least one of the, like, things happen to them that starts off the film.
I'd say pretty much all.
If not all.
Yeah,
So, and I mean, with the way the movie goes, it's like very satisfying for me.
Sure.
Where things end up. So I was really happy with how everything ended, and I know what you're saying about like you could have had more, but I like how everything ended. I really don't have any like qualms about things. There was maybe one character decision that happened towards the end that both you and I were like, why won't they just do this? But that's
sure, but it's rectified.
It's rectified really quickly, so
and there's
I don't think it's much to complain about.
And there's no huge consequences for it.
No.
Which is like, okay.
It just kind of stretches out the drama of the movie.
Right, it elongates things, sure. But yeah, I mean, I definitely recommend it for sure.
Yeah.
And I feel like I say this on a lot of films these days because people really are just sensitive little pussies nowadays. But I definitely think people could take this film as like feminist, like man hating kind of movie.
I mean, and I guess I don't think it's man hating at all, but in a way it is kind of like feminist horror. But it's realistic.
I don't
It's not
yeah,
like.
that's not a bad thing.
No, not at all. I don't think that's something that people should complain about, but it can be triggering to a lot of people for different reasons, I suppose.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I don't even know honestly why I don't bring that up in an attempt to warn anyone who might feel like offended by that. Because if you do, fuck yourself. That's not why I say that. I more say that like letting letting anyone know like this is probably what you're gonna see out of the reactions of this film, so prepare yourself.
No, it's valid to bring it up, especially given like the social climate that we live in, like the reactions that like the general public have towards movies. I mean, it's fair to kind of point it out that this is what's gonna likely come of it.
Yeah, no, I see the writing on the wall, and I just feel like there's nothing these days that isn't getting the woke label thrown at it. Like, it's really just become a blanket statement these days. Like, someone was talking about the Batman the other day, and somebody in the comments was just like, oh yeah, it's like woke trash and this and that. And I'm like,
what?
Dude, is everything woke
movie?
now to you? Like, what? Because Catwoman's black? That's what I'm saying. Like, it's like the lowest bar possible.
Yes, it's
for
not
what triggers them now.
Well, and it's not a valid criticism of a film. Like you can not like a message that a film is presenting, but it can still be a good piece of art. Like it can still have high production quality and acting, and that doesn't mean you have to like it. Like it can have all of those things ticked, and it just because it's something that you personally are against, you're not for it. That's fine. But like it does. It's a very basic criticism, or very shallow, I should say.
Yeah.
It's like if you don't know what else, like you just don't like it and you just want to hate it just because that's what you say.
Well, yeah, it's just, as I said, it's just become the blanket statement now for people who don't really have any valid criticisms or good points to make. It's just like, well, I like it because it's woke.
Yeah,
it's like, can you elaborate? And they'll give you, like, as I said, this, like, really low bar bullshit thing. And then you try to push back on it and be like, you just don't get it, man. You just fucking, you just bought into the system. So I can definitely see that happening with this movie. I can definitely seeing it be that now. As to where a movie like this in the past, like, let's say a Rape Revenge, which I'm not saying that's what this is, because that's actually not what this is. But it has a similar kind of thing going on. Mm-hmm. Those films in the past used to always be seen one way, and nowadays a lot of the times they're seen as like feminist propaganda agenda.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? There's so many movies like that now that it's like they made the exact same kinds of movies in the 90s and the 80s and the 70s, and you never noticed it then.
The thing that's really funny about that too is that like a lot of slasher movies get shit on for how many women get killed and like the way women are treated in horror, and people get really offended by that. And I understand to like a degree why people get offended, but then with movies that are more like female oriented, where women are doing any of the killing or anything like that, there's like a pushback of like it's feminist propaganda, and I just think it's very hypocritical because it's like.
Well, we've talked about this before. We've talked about this just earlier today. Like, the problem is most men seem to have the most fragile fucking egos, and anything that, pushes back against that or challenges their ego, they fucking lose their minds over it, but then claim everyone else is a sensitive little bitch.
Yeah. That's the hypocrisy, right?
It's fucking maddening to watch. But anyway, so you can definitely see that coming from this film. I don't see that. I can see the argument to like this is a men are trash kind of movie, but that's not really the story being told here.
No, it's not.
But I do think it's very enjoyable. I think that the chemistry between the two leads is fantastic. I like the friend.
She's wonderful.
I think this has a lot of really cool, interesting shot selections to bring you closer to your subject and connect you with them in a very like romanticized way. The way they frame like just eyes or a mouth or like the side of a face, they use kind of like a real. They use like a slight Dutch angle, extreme close up.
So it's like it's romantic but a little unsettling. Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked a lot of the shot selections, and I think that like the tension in the movie is really well paced. I think you get very invested in the characters early on. Which keeps you. I mean, I was super interested the entire movie.
Definitely engaged. And it is like an hour and 50 minutes for people who are like
longer.
I don't I only want an hour and 30 or less, then you're out on this one, I guess.
It doesn't feel like that though. It goes by very quickly.
Super quick.
Like it's not it's not an action movie by any sense, but there is a lot of action and movement happening all the time. So the sound design too I liked. It was really tight.
Thank you.
The song choices I thought were really fitting, and they added a great layer to the film. So yeah, I mean, all around I loved it. I thought it was wonderful, and
yeah,
I'd definitely be interested in doing like a spoiler discussion at some point.
You'll definitely be guessing where things are going a little bit here and there. Like I was definitely like, where's this about to head right now? Because it gets into places where you're like, is this person gonna do this? Is this person this? Is it? And that was fun. But I do think it has a very satisfying conclusion, albeit a little vague, where I'm like, what happened after that? You fill in the blank, but there's another element that's there that you're like, what happened to that?
Sure.
And I want to see that.
Yeah. It's not an ambiguous ending at all, but it does kind of leave things slightly open-ended. And I mean, just with how interested I was in the film in general, I would have been fine with another 30 minutes, but I don't need it. I'm okay with everything how it
I would have liked
30
another
more
15 minutes at least for real closeout. Real fucking full. This is where I was saying. That's where my catharsis.
Yeah, the book isn't
lacking.
like fully shut.
Like I want that.
It's like you're on the second to last page.
I'd watch a second film.
I would too. Yeah.
Taking place from there. I would totally be into that for like pure catharsis. Yeah. So fresh to fresher.
Fresh to fresher.
Fresher.
Fresh and then fresh through freshest.
Freshest.
Most fresh.
I'd be into it. I'd be into a sequel. I don't think it would ever happen, but yeah, it's not gonna happen.
Probably not. I think this was a one and done, but it was great. I loved it. It was a very nice movie to watch.
And I quite enjoyed it, and I definitely think that you guys should check it out.
For sure.
Let us know. Bye.